Bien. I am assuming that you grew up in a world full of technology. I mean, you remember probably when you were a kid, the cell phones and the internet was already there. Not in my case. So were you prepared to have this experience, fully connected online to do everything?
This project is no easy task at all. And for us to have this transition and then do it all online it's kind of mind blowing. I was a little skeptical going into it of how smoothly it would go, but it worked out perfect and I'm just really happy about it.
I figured that at some point in my life, society would kind of be like this. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it would be by the time I'm having children and it'd be those kids, not us.
I think transitioning to a fully online format for school wasn't too big of a change, considering that I've had like online classes in the past. I know my mom, half the week before this whole thing started, she worked from home and had the mobility to work from home whenever she wanted. So I didn't think that transition was too difficult for her. But I wasn't prepared for the level of uncertainty that exists today. And like Nicole was saying, just not being able to go through the milestones I was expecting to, and the interaction with my friends and like the final like goodbyes and whatnot before leaving college. And I've had a few friends have celebrated birthdays just in their homes, and all of these different events that are used to be the norm are now changing. And I think that was something I also wasn't prepared for.
I think change is inevitable. We can't predict the future ever. So I think it's not necessarily what's happening, but how you react to it. But not in the sense that we're going to be reactive, but rather proactive. And I think that speaks volumes about our group and our class in general. And just all these students who are undergoing tremendous changes and uncertainty and fear and worry and stress. I think a lot of them are just being proactive instead of reacting in a negative way. And so I applause to our group for having to deal with all of this and still making it through and being proud of what we produced.
Because I know like Aiden and June were primarily working on the editing, and then Kelly and I had worked on more of like the stuff before the semester turned virtual in terms of like preparing the questions and for the actual interview. So it really like brought us together in terms of like helping each other. And then also I think we paid more attention to the quality of the video, because we wanted to make sure that our circumstances didn't affect what information that we got, because it was really, I really appreciated how open our narrators were and them being able to share their life stories and how they were interconnected. So overall, I think the experience was really interesting.
But I especially think that because of quarantine, I was able to learn more about how to edit videos on my own laptop, because otherwise I would probably do it in Marston with all of my group members helping me. But now I know how to use the software on my own laptop, and I actually was able to use it for a different video for a different class. So I'm really glad that I got to work on it from home, because I definitely learned a lot about editing videos.
When we first started having to work on things together after going home and being separate places, it was really difficult, and everything is just not turning out as well as we wanted to, because we just had so many obstacles. But then over time, we ended up getting together and being able to make it the way we wanted it to be.
It just brought on so many new challenges that we didn't expect. But I think I can speak for my group. Everyone was so flexible and just so supportive, and we communicated so well. And so I think definitely after this experience, I think we're all learned something new about technology that we didn't know before. We're realized just how capable we are of being flexible and just working as a team too. Despite the circumstances, everyone worked really well. So
I just want to speak to the adaptability of everyone and how well we did, because it wasn't easy. Personally for me, I know I'm an in-person kind of person. I like to be there. And one of the things our group did was we like to meet in person right after class in the beginning of doing our project. So, and it was really good for us. We got to talk to each other, exchange ideas. but we just had to learn to adapt, find ways to communicate. And even though we're living in the modern age, it's not necessarily easy to use technology all the time. Sometimes you want that person-to-person connection.
The transition has been like really, really hard because I don't like using technology. Like I'm still a paper and pencil person. So like moving to online lectures and watching those videos is like really difficult. And yeah, I like being outside. I like doing things. Like I don't like being totally reliant on technology. And that's really hard for me right now.
I think we're in a stage in our lives where this was supposed to be the biggest change in a different way. I don't know how many seniors we have in this class. Yeah. So we were already expecting like major change in every way. Like some of us may have had internships somewhere else or a job somewhere else. And now it's kind of like we're stuck in senior year for whoever knows how long, because we're not even graduating yet. Like so many experiences that you can't really replace with an online experience like for your life. I think for me that was like the thing that I wasn't ready for, because when it comes to doing class and finishing this last semester or maybe working from home, that might have been okay, but in between that there were so many experiences that we were about to have and now we're just like waiting. So that's what I was like caught off guard.
Just learning to be adaptable, because like originally some responsibilities were for one person, but then that all changed because of like having to have one person do more work than the other because of the video recording and stuff. And so learning just to be adaptable and like just to adapt to the situation instead of being stuck in one way.
The theme we chose for our video being the theme of change, I think is super applicable to the present situation and how kind of the whole world had to adapt to these different changes into a new normal, very similar to how all the narrators are talking about their respective experiences and adapting to their new lives. So I think it was really nice that we were able to showcase a theme and then, well, maybe not nice, but experience our own respective changes in our lives.
Yeah, I mean, the project in general was just really enjoyable and really interesting, even though obviously the virus did sort of impact everyone's like life, not just this project, but, you know, everything. But actually I really enjoyed the project, and like it was a great way to learn more about and kind of like learn more about immigration and kind of like combine all the ideas we learned in the class in a cumulative way.
We all learned a lot of new skills, especially with technology, because I'd never had to create a video, edit it, do the subtitles. And shout out to Ashley, because in our group, her computer was the only one that had the storage space to fit the software, to download the software we needed to do the subtitles. And so her and I like shared screen on Zoom, which was super helpful. But she honestly didn't even really need me to be there. Like she figured it out. She watched tutorials. Like she just really took on that task because she was the only computer that could do it. Like each group member tried and all of us just had errors, can't download. And so shout out to Ashley for like teaching herself, like self-teaching herself a whole new skill and really just like coming in real MVP. And that just shows too like the team effort of like that task was supposed to be delegated to like other group members that had that niche, but it just didn't work out that way. We encountered that like, you know, unforeseen problem, but we all just like worked together and like gladly were able to help with like what we could and just take on like new tasks and like help each other learn it too.
In general, we had a nice a connected class atmosphere. So thank you to you for also creating that, and also in a group project where you typically have the like, oh my god, a group project is going to be terrible. It wasn't like that with this class. Like everyone was so nice to work with, and all of the different ones that we had to do. But I think it created a good space to humanize. I like that word you used, Ashley. Humanize all of these experiences that we were learning about, which was probably the best part. Yeah. These new human experiences, I guess, that we were learning. Yeah. Okay.
I think we learned a lot of new skills with this project because it's not something that you usually do for other classes. Like it's nothing I never had to do any like editing or video or interview or nothing like that. And the fact that we were able to do it, first of all, in Spanish, second of all, with like such a prominent theme that like we deal with nowadays, is like super valuable. So we learned, I learned a lot of new skills. So I'm really grateful for that. In general, I had fun. And for the most part that we had like working on it on campus before the quarantine, I think for like future students, if they don't have like this type of situation, they'll have a lot of fun too, in an easier time probably.
I also agree with everybody. I really enjoyed this project. I thought it was a cool way to like synthesize all of the information we learned in class, but like make everything a lot more personal. And like I think it made it made the class a lot more impactful for me. And then the ability to like have these circumstances that are very difficult for us. I think it just like helps me respect the immigrants that we interviewed and all the immigrants even more. So I think it was kind of like Lauren was saying, it's not nice, but it's a valuable experience to be able to go through this, to be able to like relate to the people we interviewed more.
We got to see a whole new side of immigration because I feel like for the most part, we learn about it in statistics, like this many people come here every year or something like that. But in this class, we were able to see the people behind it, like people's stories and people's lives. And even, and I know a lot of us might love to travel and visit other countries or might want to work in a different country. And it really helps kind of lessen our ignorance. Even for some of us that might be like children of immigrants, like first gens or immigrants ourselves, there's still so much to learn. Like your experience my experience as an immigrant is different from anybody else's experience as an immigrant. And it kind of it makes you more open-minded for other people's experiences. That's what I liked about it.
Like we got into depth on like so many issues. And like it really brought like into perspective for me like that I wasn't aware of a lot of things that like go on in daily life, even though I thought I kind of knew like a lot about certain issues. Like I really wasn't as aware, and it was just kind of like a continuation of things that I'm interested in. And it kind of like most of the Spanish classes that I take are like reading or like writing or speaking or whatever, but this was kind of different. Like we actually got to talk about like real issues and get really in depth on those. So I really enjoyed it. And like, I appreciated our discussions every day. And I think the project was a really cool way to kind of separate the in-class discussions with like actually actively participating in that in the real society, like Spanish in the community.
This class was really awesome. I really enjoyed it. I got to learn a lot of new skills besides just like learning more about the Spanish language. I learned how to like edit a video. I learned more social issues, which was super cool. And I think the way you would like number us off in the beginning, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'd always go with like different people. I think that really helped to get to know everyone. And everyone is just so nice. Like it was such a great group of people. Like I'd walk in and somebody like, your hair looks so pretty. Your like outfit's so cute. Like everyone just always was like that. And I don't think you get that with like a big lecture hall. So I really enjoyed this class. Like thank you to everyone. And yeah.
Having you guys as my classmates, like we all came from different backgrounds and places. And I think it just, as we were learning about different people and struggles that like other groups of people go through, it was so helpful and like mind opening, like you said, Nicole, like to see the differences within our own society, like within our own classroom, and like to kind of like open that up into like the rest of the country, the world. I think just like I learned a lot from you guys, and that helps me like see the bigger picture almost.
I really liked getting to learn the stories of different people because like everyone was saying, everyone has such a different story that we just don't know about. And so like this class presents a really unique opportunity to learn, especially about immigration and like to really understand how far reaching immigration is, where we often don't think about it, but so many people are impacted by it that I didn't even know about. And so just getting to learn the stories and the situations and the struggles that people go through was really unique and a really cool opportunity. And like it opened my perspective on a lot of things too. A lot of things I feel like I was ignorant to before this class. And so having open discussions with classmates and like not attacking each other for different opinions was also really awesome, being able to discuss openly and just learn from it all rather than being stuck in our shell here. I feel like it gives us a broader perspective, everything we've learned in this class.
I think it was one of the most personal classes for me too, and it was amazing to come back to the class every single time, even though it was at 4 p.m. But then coming and having the discussions and being able to, it was sort of a safe place for everybody, and everybody was able to express their opinions, and I really loved that about it. So thank you everyone so much for this. And I think we really got to know truly amazing stories through our interviews, through the project, and through the videos that we watched and everything. So yeah, I hope everybody continues with the new discoveries.
I guess I'd say like thanks for such interesting conversations, because we did talk about a lot of different like complicated things, and I feel like people were like prepared for class and got to go like in depth, and we all got to share different opinions, and even if we disagree, we got to like come to some kind of resolution. And I feel like I was able to learn a lot more through talking to my classmates than just like reading articles on my own.
That my Spanish classes, out of all my other classes, a lot of the other ones are pretty transactional, they're big lectures, whatever the case may be. But my Spanish classes always seem very intimate and personal, which is nice because I think they're based off of a lot of discussion during class instead of a lot of like quizzes and tests. No, it's just a lot of talking and getting to know each other and delving into very difficult topics or uncomfortable topics. And so I think that's what made us really close. And yeah, just keep on grinding. We're almost at the finish line of the semester, and I wish you all the best.
My mom and my sister and my dad back home are all sewing face masks. Like my friends are like cooking meals and leaving them on people's doorsteps. It's really nice to like see how the community is like trying to adapt in this time.
Humanizing the virus. I think that's a great idea. Just like with most issues in the world, it is good to humanize it, because so often that is the way that hate wins, is by dehumanizing people. It's just heartbreaking when that doesn't work. But anyway, with the project, I really agree with all of my group members in that we really meshed well from the beginning, and it was an awesome project. I really enjoyed it, and I think we all enjoyed learning new skills, meeting new people, things like that. I'm really sad that we can't all come together and watch it at the end, because I was really looking forward to that.
Some good changes that could come out of it is that now we realize that so many jobs that apparently couldn't be online and had to be done in office can be done from home, and disabled people and people with chronic illnesses will have more opportunities. Also, I think we'll have a greater appreciation for essential workers next. Now, a lot of people who treated restaurant workers and store workers poorly realize that they can't live without them.
Far, I think the transition has definitely been tough. It's been tough to get used to doing everything online and not being able to go to your library for resources and those sorts of things. But ultimately, I think it's been a growing experience for everybody. I think we've learned to prioritize what's truly important, family, love, and those sorts of things. So I think that once everything goes back to normal, we really need to hold on to those things that we learned and try to just better the world.
So basically, we are never going back to normal, in my humble opinion. I think that like the world that we once knew, like let's say 4 months ago, maybe we will get back to that point at some point in time, but for the near future, like maybe the next year or even 2 years, I think what we knew as normal will forever be changed. Whether that impacts our daily lives, such as going to the grocery store, going to restaurants, going to things like movie theaters, large public gatherings. I think that people are going to develop a new like understanding of ways that those things maybe aren't safe. And I believe that like the virus will continue in waves. I don't think that like we're done seeing this even through the end of the summer. I unfortunately think that it's probably going to come back maybe the fall or, within the next year. And I feel like people like, even though it's like terrible how it's impacting the economy, like local businesses, everything like that, I feel like people like new technologies and things will develop, and like the way we once knew like 2019 is like never going to be like that for like at least a few years, and like in my opinion.
To some extent, like I hope we don't go back to the way things were like completely, because the way that we're like responding to this now is like we're coming together, and like as a entire world we're coming together, and I don't want things to just go back to normal where things we were like very complacent with our situation. And I hope that we almost take this momentum of like togetherness forward. Hopefully we get to like see each other again and have some resemblance of a normal life, but that like the way we interact with people and the way that we depend on each other will like help us solve like bigger issues, like climate change. So I hope that like people see we can come together and we can keep doing this and we can do bigger and better things.